Listeners, NerdWallet wants you to let them do the work for you. Looking for auto insurance? The Nerds will match you with top providers in your area in just a few questions. So getting the right rate for you is as simple as going to nerdwallet.com. After all, letting NerdWallet do the work is more than smart. It's genius. Not all applicants will qualify for the lowest monthly payments. NerdWallet Insurance Services Incorporated. California resident license number OK92033. The Rachel Hollis Podcast is proudly sponsored by Amica Insurance. As Amica says, empathy is our best policy. That's why they'll go above and beyond to tailor your insurance coverage to best fit your needs. Whether you're on the road, at home, or traveling along life's journey, their friendly and knowledgeable representatives will work with you to ensure that you have the right coverage in place. Amica will provide you with peace of mind. Go to amica.com to get a quote today. So we're not going to talk about how to fall in love with someone or how to get someone to fall in love with you. We're going to talk about things that you can do inside of each and every day that will make you feel like your life is awesome, because it is if you are looking for validation that there's goodness around you and there's positivity around you and there's blessings around you. If you are looking for those things, you're going to find them. And if you are not looking for those things, you won't. It really is as simple as that. Mindset is something that you have to cultivate. It's something that you have to curate. It's something that you have to train yourself to do. Being a positive person and being optimistic and looking for good, that is a skill that you can train yourself to have, just like anything else. Hi, I'm Rachel. And in this show, we talk about everything: life and work, health and healing, relationships with others and with ourselves. These are stories for the seekers. These are conversations for the curious. This is the Rachel Hollis Podcast. Hi guys, it's Rachel. Welcome to another episode of the show and a little encouragement for you today. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Let's all just manifest that. It's getting better every day, and we are actively in the process of making it better. And we have God, source, universe, whatever you believe in. She's on your side. She's actively working to meet you halfway. And it's getting better. Let's just keep speaking that and praying that over our lives. Okay, now the actual podcast episode. I am hyper aware that it is Valentine's Day this week, and lots of the content that you're going to find out there in podcast land is going to be about how to find love. How to find love, how to find a boyfriend, how to find a girlfriend, how to do that whole thing. And I've been trying to come up with alternative ideas for this week and unique perspective that I might be able to bring to the mix, which is why Monday's episode was all about how to get your confidence back after you get out of a really hard relationship, especially if that relationship was with a narcissist, whether that was a parent, a boss, a girlfriend, whatever. Monday's episode was all about that. And today's episode, a little bit more positive, is unexpected ways to fall in love with your life. So we're not going to talk about how to fall in love with someone or how to get someone to fall in love with you. We're going to talk about things that you can do inside of each and every day that will make you feel like your life is awesome, because it is if you are looking for validation that there's goodness around you and there's positivity around you and there's blessings around you. If you are looking for those things, you're going to find them. And if you are not looking for those things, you won't. It really is as simple as that. Mindset is something that you have to cultivate. It's something that you have to curate. It's something that you have to train yourself to do. Being a positive person and being optimistic and looking for good, that is a skill that you can train yourself to have, just like anything else. And in fact, I think some of the most positive and optimistic people I know came out of environments that would suggest the opposite. Some of the most positive people I know came out of really hard childhoods. And I think that's because inside of those environments, we had to train ourselves to think in a more positive way. So if someone inside of a really dark time can teach themselves this skill, so can you. Loving your life and being excited about life and being energized and being at a higher vibration, you can train yourself to think that way. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 5 unexpected ways to fall in love with your life. And here's why it matters. Because most people are waiting for some external change to make their life better. They're waiting for more money. They're hoping for the dream job. They want the right relationship. And they tell themselves that if they only had those things, that then they would feel better. And I get this. I think we are all victims of this mindset throughout our lives. We're like, oh, if this just changed, then I'll finally be happy. Then I'll feel fulfilled. I promise you that the way to happiness, the path to contentment, to feeling really good in this life, and therefore attracting more goodness, is not outside yourself. It is inside yourself. When you change the inside, the outside starts to match. So focus on what's going on internally. And here's the big secret. You don't have to wait. You do not have to wait for some huge thing to happen for you to love your life. You can make the decision to fall in love with your life right now as it is. And in doing so, you actually create energy, you raise your vibration, and you start to experience momentum, which is the best key I know of for making real and lasting change. And that's what we're doing here, right? I assume that if you are in this community, if you are listening to this episode, whether it's the first time we've ever hung out, hey girl, or we've been hanging out for a decade, that you're here because you are turned on by the idea of making your life better. You understand either a little bit or completely that if you want your life to change for the better, it's on you. Nobody is going to fix this but you. You must take ownership of the experience. You have to understand that you are meant to be the captain of your own ship. If you're here, I assume it's because either you're trying to make change for the first time, or you understand now how change is possible, and so you want to continue to get ideas and insights and be surrounded by people who are also interested in a continuous evolution. So here are some ideas about how you can love your life more, because y'all, if you love your life, a world of possibilities opens up to you. Number 1, oh wow, I just led the witness. I accidentally shared my first piece of advice. If you want to love your life, the first thing that I would encourage you to do is to fall in love with possibility. This sounds very nebulous and like, what does that even mean? Fall in love with possibility feels like a bumper sticker. Let me explain, because this is something that's happening to me right now in real time. And I know you guys love a little like girlfriend to girlfriend, here's what's going on. I am about to put an offer on a house. This is so exciting. Let me tell you all about it. And in order to do that, let me take a brief little side bend over here and explain the why. I've been looking for probably 6 or 7 months for a house that I could buy and remodel. Now, I don't know that I've talked to you guys about this a lot because it's just not part of my work. And so why would I talk about it? But for probably 15 years, I have accidentally found a way into the best investing that I know of. I understand that what I'm saying right now makes it sound like I'm about to pitch you. No, Don't take any of your investment ideas from me. This is not about to be a thing about finances or what you should do. I'm just sharing a piece of my life with you. So for about 15 years, maybe longer, I have experienced success in real estate. This sounds so intense and it's not meant to be. Let me make it simpler. When I first got married, 20 something years ago, to my first husband, we bought a little townhouse together. We bought a townhouse. We made some moderate improvements, nothing crazy. We just upgraded it a little bit to the best of our ability. We were newlyweds. We were young. We didn't know how to do much. We had this incredible gift in that my ex-husband's father was a contractor, so he could give us ideas like, oh, if you did this, this, and this, it would probably improve the value. So we lived there for a few years. We improved it a bit. We sold it, and we ended up selling it and making a nice profit. We were like, wow, that's amazing. We did not anticipate that. So we did, with our second house, we very actively were aware that that was a possibility. We were like, oh, what if we got something that needed more work? And we kind of did the same again. And we developed this pattern of, I would find a house that needed love but had great potential in a fantastic neighborhood. So this winning formula, which I'm not telling any of you to do, I'm not trying to give you financial advice, but I've just done this consistently, is find, for lack of a better word, a crappy house in a fantastic neighborhood. They exist everywhere. And we did that, and we would always buy the house, live in it while it was being remodeled, which is brutal. But eventually, we would be living in this house that was fantastic and that we created and it was awesome. And eventually, when we grew out of it and we were able to sell it, we sold it for a profit. And I've just had this happen a lot. So I have a preconceived idea that this is a fantastic way to invest my money. I would like to say one last time, I am not telling you how to invest your money. This is just what I have done. And so I have been mindful of that in Los Angeles. Where I lived in Austin, it was all new development. So there wasn't a ton of opportunity for that in the way there is in LA. And for 6 months, I've been like, man, I really want to do that again. I really want to lean into that. And I've talked to you guys a bit about the house that we're in right now. I don't love. It was a great option because we got here. We needed to be here for the kids' school. But like, I have been daydreaming for a couple years now of like the dream house, the dream kitchen, the outdoor grill, like all these things that I would love to have happen. I'm in no hurry, but I've just had my eye out, okay? That was a big lot of information to tell you I've had my eye out. I'm a Zillow girl. I don't know if any of you like to just casually see what Zillow has to offer. I do that all the time. I have the neighborhoods I'm interested in, what's by my kids' school, what would work. And I've been keeping my eye out. And last week, I saw a house that I was like, first of all, the price jumped out at me because I was like, why on earth is this house priced at this amount in the neighborhood I'm interested in? Because if you're interested in doing this at all, you got to know your neighborhood. You got to know what it could do. What has it done over the last 15 years, whatever. So I was like, whoa, what's going on? Why is this house with this many bedrooms at this price in this neighborhood? So I open up Zillow, and I immediately know why. It's because the house is very old. She's very old. It has not been touched since the 60s. Imagine that someone did all the interior of a house in the 60s and now it's 2025 and nothing's been changed. It takes a very specific kind of person to see the potential of what that could be, to be willing to work with the historical elements of a house. And I'll tell you real quick, in LA, their favorite thing to do is to take an incredible, unique, beautiful property, level it to the ground, and build a McMansion. It's just so gross. It's like the number one thing people do here. And when you find homes where the owners are attached to it, so like they grew up there or their family has lived there forever and now it's like an older couple who's downsizing, you can, and I've had this happen so many times, get properties because you want to love on the house instead of destroy the house and start again. Which also, oh my God, what an incredible connection for today's podcast episode, which is all about loving the life that you have instead of trying to like destroy it and start a whole new one. Wow, this is a long way to get to my point. Guys, keep with me. So I found this house. I'm dreaming about it. It just so happened when I went to look on Zillow that there was an open house the next day. So I grabbed Boo. I'm like, hey, let's go walk around this house. We go walk around this house. And for any of you who have ever done this before, you're way less scared of it. You have a vision. You know what it is. You know it's about to be a beast. You know the remodel is going to cost twice as much and take twice as long. Those of you who've done it before, you're nodding your heads. But if you go walk through that space with someone who has never done it, they are crapping their pants, which is exactly what happened with Boo. He's just like looking around like, oh my, what? And he's not saying it, but I can see that he's like, what is she planning? And this was exactly the same scenario as with my first husband. And so what I would do was I would be like, no, just get your dad down here. Like get your dad down here and have him walk through with me because he'll see this too. So I take Boo, we look at it. He's like pretty petrified because just so we're clear, I'm like living a good life, but I'm not living the kind of life where I can do a full remodel and also live in another house. So it's a precarious thing to do.
Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists create connectivity solutions that change the way we work, live, and play. Like Kunle, a Comcast engineer who is focused on revolutionizing the in-home Wi-Fi experience today and for the next generation. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
Coming into the new year, it was time for a big reset for our family. We had so much fun over the holidays and we indulged in sugar and all the stuff we normally wouldn't have, which is why I love coming back into a routine with Thrive Market. Thrive Market lets you easily find trusted, family-friendly brands and shop based on your needs. So things like low sugar or gluten-free, organic or high protein, you can filter them without the hassle of grocery store trips. Plus, with the Healthy Swap scanner in the app, you can scan a product you already buy and get instant recommendations for cleaner, healthier alternatives. Ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/Rach and you'll get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/Rach. thrivemarket.com/Rach. We go see the house. Ooh, okay, this is exciting. That night I go home and I'm just like, my brain won't shut off. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, we could like take that wall down and open the kitchen up and then we could do this and we could do that. The next day I'm like, I want to go see it again. I want to actually be there by ourselves, kind of sit with it, think about it. And all of that to say, we went on a walk before we went and saw the house for the second time. And I was so pumped, you guys, which brings me to the point of number one, fall in love with possibility. I was buzzing with like, oh, we could do that. We could do this. And like, I wonder if you could get a skylight in there and like open that window up more. And I understand that I'm giving you an example of something like so specific and not everybody's interested in buying a house and not everyone is in a place where they can buy a house. It's such a bougie example. But more to the point is the possibility of like a project, the creativity of this. And here's a very simple version of it. Maybe your possibility is like you're going to plan a fabulous dinner party with your girlfriends. And you know what? Every time you guys hang out, you kind of hang out in your usual clothes and you always go to the same place every time. And you're actually going to elevate it. And you're going to do a dinner party and you're going to do it at that restaurant that all of you have been dying to try. And you're going to have a rule that everybody has to dress to the nines, like in whatever way makes them feel the most fabulous. And you're calling this like the fabulous dinner party at the fabulous restaurant in town. And you come up with some fun ideas and here's what we're going to do. And everyone's starting the night with this one great question that we're going to go around the table and talk about. And then before the night's over, everyone has to have talked to a stranger. Like, I don't know, I'm making these things up. My point is that if you can find a category of literally anything that gets you excited, for me, it was like remodeling. If you can find a category that gets you excited with the possibilities, those possibilities bubble up and become like fizz in your stomach in the best possible way. You don't have to want to buy a house. You could get excited about remodeling your bathroom. You could get excited about changing the furniture around in the den. But it has to be something that you think is fun. And I don't know what's going to happen with this house. I'm going to put an offer in. I don't know if it will be accepted. I think the really cool thing about my approach to life and to believing that God has my back and whatever is for me can't miss me means that I go into this process and I'm like, oh yeah, if this is the house we're supposed to get, if this is the path we're supposed to walk down, all of these doors are just going to open up wide for me. And if they don't, it wasn't meant to be. So I don't have any attachment to what happens next. I'm just excited about the possibility. So here are some tactical ways. I'm going to stop talking about buying a house, but I will keep you guys posted. Here are some tactical ways that you can get excited about possibility. Number one, I want you to make a possibilities list. Write down 10 things that you get excited about, no matter how big or how small, or that your sister would see them and be like, why do you care about weenie dogs? And you're like, because weenie dogs are amazing. Whatever it is that you get excited about, make a list. The act of naming the things that pump you up, just that can shift your energy. But if you come up with 10 things that excite you, you can come up with 10 for each of those 10 that would allow you to explore that area of interest more. Number two, plan something you can look forward to. I already kind of gave you this idea about planning a dinner party for your girlfriends or maybe a date with your boo. This has been proven time and again that the best part about vacation for people is the anticipation of the vacation. For most people, looking forward to the trip is more exciting than the actual trip. So find something you can look forward to. Number three, visualize your dream life. Not just the outcome, but the feeling. Like, what would it be like to be genuinely excited about each and every day? What would it look like for you if you woke up in the morning and you jumped out of bed because you were so excited about what comes next? Lastly, on the possibilities list, allow yourself to dream without Pam. Okay, if you've never heard me talk about Pam, Pam is the name that I gave to the negative self-talk in the back of my mind. And I gave it that name because I think it's really powerful to give a visual to the negative self-talk. We all have a record playing in the back of our mind that's telling us all of the reasons that we suck and why we can't do it and why we're going to fail. And I like to imagine exactly what that person looks like. For me, she has like Kate Gosling's haircut, not like Kate Gosling now, but like Kate Gosling on the original John and Kate +8. You know what I'm talking about. And she's a Karen, right? She wants to talk to your manager. She wants to complain about everything. That's my voice. And her name is Pam. So I would highly recommend you do the same. But for the possibilities list, I would love for you to really practice daydreaming without Pam getting a say. And don't focus on like, oh, but how could you do? But wait, but that's not for me. Just let yourself experiment with what is possible. Fall in love with possibility. Your version of what you can be excited about. Number 2, second way to fall in love with your life. This one's fun. Romanticize your life, even the boring parts. Romanticize your life. Have you ever seen the cute little girls on Instagram and TikTok? They're not girls. They're like in their 20s. They're girls to me. Have you ever seen them doing those videos where they're romanticizing their life? I think it's so cool. I actually saw someone recently talking crap about that. Like, oh, now everything has to be like beautiful. And, the cappuccino has to be perfect. Like my whole life is supposed to look like No, but don't crap on someone else because they like the idea of romanticizing their life. I think that can really help us. This life is hard, you guys. It's hard. Are you looking around? Lots of things make it feel like the world is on fire. There's so much division. There's so much pain. It's all around us. It's in our own family systems. It's in our heart. Like, life is hard. And if it makes you feel better to put a beautiful satin bow in your hair, even though you're in your 40s, live. Sister, live. Brother, put that bow in your hair. If it makes you feel better to like have a beautiful coffee and post it on, great. Why not? Romanticize your life. You don't need a better life. You need to feel differently about the life that you have. You need to shift your perspective of what it is. The happiest people on this planet, babe, they don't have more. They've trained themselves to notice everyday magic. They've trained themselves to appreciate what they do have. So, tactical ways, because we're all about tactics here. We want to create real and lasting change in this community. So let's get tactical about how to get romantic. Create rituals. Not just a routine, not just the thing you're going to check off your list. Create a ritual. Even the word ritual sounds sexier, So here's a great example of this from my own life. I feel like all the examples I'm giving today are so dramatic, but it kind of works too because we're talking about romanticizing. You're going to meet few people in this life who love Christmas more than me and my husband. We love Christmas. I am unashamed to tell you that we decorated for Christmas on November 1st this year. 2 full months, full Christmas decorations. I regret nothing. It made me so happy. Oh my gosh. Every morning I would get up, drink my coffee by the twinkly Christmas lights on the tree. What a vibe. What a joy. January rolls around. I do love Christmas, but I also care about propriety. So, at some point you got to take your Christmas decor down. Take it down, but then everything just feels so sad without your tree. And so for a couple weeks in January, I was like, man, this is really sad. And we were also in this really hard time in LA. So much was going on. There was so much pain, and it just felt like cold and wintry and dark. And so for the last 10 days, I have been getting up every morning because it's cold here. Please don't laugh at me. I live in Los Angeles. It's cold for LA. So if I get up in the morning, it's like 40 degrees or something. I've been getting up in the morning, and it's still dark when I get up, brewing the coffee, and then I go into the den that used to hold the Christmas tree, and I light a fire. I had to wait. We couldn't light fires for a minute in LA because the air was so bad, but it's rained a ton, so you're allowed to have a fire again. And every morning I wake up and I light a fire. And that feels very dramatic for a Tuesday morning when you're about to make school lunches. But I have about 35 minutes that I can sit in the den with my coffee, reading a book, just having me time. It's the most grounding force in my life. It's why I talk to you guys about the importance of a morning routine. Getting in the den and just having that time for myself is so important. And this act of lighting the fire really makes it feel romantic. Who am I? Where am I? Am I in a Jane Austen novel? I'm just sitting by the fire. It's so delightful. And the process takes 10 minutes. I'm not building a fire to roast a pig. I'm just lighting a fire. And it's so lovely. So I have my morning ritual already. I'm making the coffee. I do my Palo Santo throughout the house. I pray over my kids. I pray over our family. I've developed these rituals over time, but this is the newest one during the winter months when it's cold that feels like self-care, but also just feels romantic. So create rituals. Light a candle with your morning coffee or create a soundtrack that you only play when you're cooking dinner. Getting dressed into something special. Put a little effort into your outfit today if you didn't already. Like, let's try something different. Or let's re-wear an outfit that made us feel amazing 2 weeks ago. I heard someone say recently that repeating your best outfits is actually a sign of having style and taste. It's a very European thing to do. It's very Parisian to find outfits that you love and repeat them. And I was like, that's the best advice I've heard in a long time. So create a ritual.
Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists create connectivity solutions that change the way we work, live, and play. Like Kunle, a Comcast engineer who is focused on revolutionizing the in-home Wi-Fi experience today and for the next generation. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
Celebrate your love story with a Valentine's Day surprise from Pandora Jewelry. I love having jewelry that helps me commemorate special times in my life. I have at least 5 bracelets on at all times that represent gifts from my kids or from my husband. And this Valentine's Day, let your heart guide you to the perfect gift. With Pandora, you can choose styles full of sparkle, heartwarming symbols, or different choices that help you capture every moment of your life together. Make the feeling last and make it personalized with an engraving or engravable jewelry. You can even use your own handwriting, guys. On Valentine's Day and every day, be love. Shop Pandora Jewelry today in store or online at pandora.net. Next thing you can do to feel romantic about your life, document the small moments. I said this earlier. Take pictures of your coffee. Journal about a sunset. Capture a moment of joy. Start shooting things on film. Go get an old, crappy camera from the 90s and start taking pictures on film and getting them developed old school style. It actually ends up being these amazing photos because we've lost that magic of capturing a single second. You know, with our phones, we can take 9 million pictures. But with film, you've got one instant to capture it all. The next thing you can do to make it feel more romantic is slow down. Eat without any technology involved. Put your phone away. Don't watch TV. Don't look at your laptop. Walk slowly without rushing. Challenge yourself to experience the moment that you're in. I always say at conference, we always start by me telling you, wiggle your feet inside of your shoes right now. Feel your feet firmly on this ground and be present where your feet are. Last and most important, remember that you are the leading lady. You are the leading man. You are the main character in this movie of your life. Can we sit with that for a minute? Are you really living today like you are the main character? Let's do some main character stuff. Let's make decisions as if we are the most important person in the story that we are living out. Just for a moment. Not in selfish ways, not in mean ways, but if this was a movie about your life, what would the main character do right now? When you start treating your regular, ordinary, everyday life as something special, because it is something special, it starts to feel that way. The third thing that you can do to fall in love with your life is go on artist dates. I know I've given you guys this piece of advice before, but that's because it's so good and it stands the test of time. An artist date is something that was originally talked about by Julia Cameron in the book The Artist's Way, which at this point I think is 30 years old and still selling hundreds of thousands of copies a year, so you know it's good. But the artist date is essentially going on a solo adventure at least once a week where you do something just for fun and just for you. It's not about being good at something. It's about getting back to the childhood desire to play and explore and feed your curiosity. An artist date is literally anything that will fill up your cup. It's going to a museum. It's going to a toy store. It's walking along a park. It's taking a tap dance lesson. It's trying a new workout at the gym. It's going and trying on clothes that you would never wear. It's anything that just feels interesting and is different than what you normally do. So here's some ideas for artist dates. Go to a bookstore and pick out any book that intrigues you. No pressure, just allow your curiosity to drive. Try a hands-on experience. So take a pottery class. Maybe you plant something. Maybe you paint. Maybe you dance. Just make sure that it feels different than what you are used to doing. There's something really cool that happens to us when we're in an experience we're not used to. Yes, it can feel scary, but it can also feel exciting and shake things up. I dare say that there is, I don't want to use the word epidemic, but I feel very concerned at the lack of passion that I am seeing in women, especially. I know it happens to men too, but oftentimes there are more responsibilities that are put on us. And taking care of so many other people and so many other things really erodes our personal resources, like our energy, our optimism, our drive, like all of these things that would be really helpful for ourselves, we are often pouring out to other people. And I think that the answer to a lot of that is feeling passionate about something. And I am encountering women, people come up to me because they've read the books, or I got to talk to you guys on book tour, and there's just really a dullness of spirit that I'm seeing. There's just, everyone's like, oh, I'm bored. Or the one I hear over and over, I have no energy. I'm so tired all the time. I have no energy at the end of the day. Sometimes that's hormonal. Sometimes that's because you're not getting enough sleep. But I really feel like we need to have more conversations about not feeling passionate. I don't mean sexy. I mean, like, are you excited about anything? Are you excited about anything in your life? If you don't feel excited about at least a few parts of your life, babe, something's wrong. Something is really, really wrong. That is not normal. You don't have to be like hands to the sky, screaming in ecstasy over every single thing you got going on, but you need something that you feel excited about, that you get to interact with, that makes you feel pumped about your life. Passion is powerful, and it is something that you can cultivate. But if you don't understand that that's a really crucial ingredient in your life, you're allowing yourself to feel so much less than you deserve to feel. I don't know who needs to hear me say this, but you're not lazy. You have mild depression. You're not lazy. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't have enough drive. It's not that you don't want it as much as your sister. It's not that you're not motivated. You have mild depression. Not everybody listening, but if what I just said resonated with you, if you just went, oh, what? There's too many people who are beating themselves up because they think they should be more motivated. And the reality is there's something deeper at play. I say mild depression because mild depression feels like a dullness of spirit that we've come to accept. And mild depression is something that can often be treated without any medicine, or, talk to your doctor if you feel like you need to, but start with things that help mild depression. Start with movement, start with gratitude, start with what's going on with you nutritionally, start with, is there anything that you feel like you can be excited about? Start with those elements. Obviously, always talk to your doctor, but When I say mild depression, I'm talking to the people who maybe right now for the first time realize that something might be deeper than just not being motivated enough. Last thought on artist dates. Focus on new. Go somewhere new, go somewhere alone. Go do something you're not used to doing, because new experiences wake up your soul. The more you explore, the more alive you feel. Because if you are in an environment that you're not usually in, you can't go on autopilot. Some of y'all don't need any more situations where you can go on autopilot. You've been numb for too long. And yes, it is uncomfortable to go do things that you haven't done and go have experiences that you've never had in places you've never traveled before, but it's really good for your soul. Okay, number 4, fourth way to fall in love with your life. Stop waiting for the big wins and start celebrating all the wins. If you only celebrate your big achievements, it's just forever this carrot that's like out of reach. And I also think we train ourselves for how to keep reaching for more. And if the thing you're aiming at is forever out of reach, why on earth would you feel excited to keep trying? You need some little wins along the way. Tactical ways to celebrate your small wins. Create a win jar. Write down small wins as they come up during the week, during the day, and watch them pile up. This is especially important if you are building something. You're building a family, you're building a business that has lots of moving parts that are always breaking. If you have more than one kid, you got lots of moving parts that are always breaking. If you are building a business, you have lots of moving parts, some of which are always breaking. Because our job is to fix the parts that are breaking, it's very easy to ignore the parts that are getting better or succeeding, which is why a win jar is really powerful. If your kid is struggling at school, it's very easy to only focus on the ways they're struggling at school and not acknowledge, yeah, but this happened and this happened and this happened. Create a win jar. Watch them pile up. Second thing you can do, focus on effort, not just outcomes. Okay, you didn't finish the book you wanted to finish, but did you read a page? Better, did you read 10 pages? But did you read at least a page? That's something. Take one step towards your goal and realize that you took a step, you moved forward even by a small amount, and that's a win. The whole idea is to stack your wins. You need to create a foundation for yourself. It's like building a brick wall. You have to start somewhere. You're watching all of this media that shows everybody running across a finish line, and so you start a race assuming that you're supposed to cross a finish line. There are 26 miles between the start of a marathon and the end of one. And inside of each one of those miles is I don't know how many steps. And inside all of those steps and being able to do it all at once are all the days and the weeks and the months of training to get to the place that you could. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of steps that you will clock before you cross the finish line. So you better acknowledge when you make progress. Celebrate the effort. And, I told you earlier in the idea about romanticizing your life to create rituals. So what if we make celebration into a ritual? What if you actually find ways to add celebration into the story? I knew someone once who was an entrepreneur, and he accidentally created this really cool celebration ritual that he followed every single time his company had a big win. And it happened because he was launching a product, and it was a really hard launch, and the whole team worked super, super hard, got to launch day, and they did it. And it was the first time that they had passed $1 million in a single day. Some huge number like that. They had done $1 million in revenue in a single day, and he'd never done that kind of number before. But he also simultaneously was so exhausted at the end of the day that he went home, went to take a shower, but also it was like by himself and he just like wanted to acknowledge the day and he was like so tired. So he opened a beer and then he was so tired. He just like took the beer into the shower and then he was standing in the shower drinking the beer. And he was like, this was actually really nice. He was just, I think we've all had those moments where you're so tired and having a beer in the shower sounds great, or whatever your version of the beer in the shower is. But that was his accidental celebration. And then the next time, like a year later, they had another big launch. He was like, oh, beer in the shower. And that became a celebration. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to involve alcohol. It doesn't have to involve water. But why I think that works so well is because it's very unique. Think of some way that you can celebrate a win and make it a ritual, make it special. The takeaway here, the thing I want you to retain about this one is that the more you celebrate, the more your brain associates progress with positivity. That makes change, which can feel hard sometimes, it makes change exciting. Fifth and final way, not final way, there's all sorts of ways. Fifth way that I'm sharing to fall in love with your life is to curate your energy. What I mean by that is protect your mental and emotional space. What we are trying to do, the work you and I are trying to do, trying to get better, trying to evolve, trying to become a better version of ourselves, that's internal work. That's us working on our hearts, our soul, our faith, our vision. Like that is internal work. But that work is made so much harder when your external environment is in opposition of the positive change you are trying to make. Your environment, meaning what you consume, who you interact with, how you spend your time, it directly affects how you feel about your life. So if you're feeling drained, if you feel uninspired, if you feel stuck, I want you to audit the energy that is hitting you throughout the course of a week. Even better, pay attention to, did I have really good energy and then all of a sudden it tanked? What happened? Or let's look at the opposite. Maybe you're feeling kind of low and then all of a sudden your energy went way up. What happened then? Audit your energy. Let's get really tactical about how you can feel more energized and more excited. Tactical ways, because you know I love me some tactics. Let's do some unfollows. I assume everyone here is consuming social media of some kind. Go through the people you follow and unfollow someone's content if it makes you feel bad. Or if it's like your mom, your cousin, whoever, and you don't want the drama of an unfollow, mute them. Protect your mental space. And this, by the way, might have nothing to do with the person that you are unfollowing. They might be lovely and sharing great advice, but for whatever reason, when you see their content, it triggers you. Maybe it makes you feel jealous. Maybe it makes you feel insecure. Unfollow them. It's that simple. Or mute them, and they'll never know that you're not consuming their content, and they keep their followers, but you're just not consuming them. It's a really simple way to make sure the content that you're getting is the content you want to get. And I'll tell you, my favorite platform, truly the only social media that I consume when I consume, which is pretty rare, is Instagram. I definitely check out the others because I feel like I need to know for work. It's also why my TikTok has like 4 followers. Actually, that's not true. It's growing. Thank you to all 4 of you who follow at RachTalk on TikTok. I swear I'm going to get better. But my point is, Instagram is the one that I follow the most and that I am most likely to scroll if I'm feeling tired or I'm on a plane or something. That being said, in the last couple of years, you know this. All the social media is now recommending content. It's coming through your feed, and you don't even necessarily realize that it's someone you don't follow. All of a sudden, there'll just be a video from someone, and I follow a lot of accounts that share other people's content. So at first, I thought I was just seeing oh, that's the account they're just sharing. And then I realized, oh no, Instagram's showing me things it thinks I will like. And I would say about half the time, it is content I absolutely do not want to consume for whatever reason. And I didn't realize it at first, and I would just scroll past it, no big deal. I actually take the time now to stop, tap the 3 buttons, and say, I am not interested in this. And then Instagram very smartly will say, like, why? Are you not interested for this reason, this reason, this reason? And then when you tell them, it'll say, okay, we won't recommend content for these things based on what you tell us. So I'm constantly curating my feed, because if I'm going to consume this content, I don't want anyone putting like the world's burning down and like, here's what this politician said today. Like, no, thank you. It already is hard. Life is rough. I am not about to let someone fearmonger me into, like, I'm over on Instagram because I want to see a cute outfit. I can go read the news if I want the news. I am not trying to have someone clickbait me into going to see like, this virus killing all children in the next 12 minutes if you don't do, and we don't need that. Unfollow negativity. Number 2, surround yourself with expanders. And when I say surround yourself, I mean through your media, through the books that you're reading, podcasts you're listening to. If you're lucky enough to have these people in your town, who inspires you? Who makes you feel like things are possible? Spend more time with those people and less time with the negative forces. Say no to energy draining obligations. If it does not align with your life feeling good, say no. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. If it's not a hell yes, if it's a no. Make space for what fuels you. What are the things that make you feel really good? Are you actively pursuing those? Like, are you actively pursuing self-care? Are you actively making time to get together with your girlfriends and laugh until you pee your pants a little bit? Are you actively curating things that give you energy instead of just checking the endless lists that are taking energy away? Okay, so here's my challenge to you. You've heard 5 ideas for how to start loving your life more. Pick one. Pick one of these 5 ideas and challenge yourself to pull it into your life, to your schedule, to your rituals this week. If this episode resonated with you guys, I hope that you will consider sharing it with a friend who needs the reminder too. But most importantly, I just want you to remember, you have a life worth loving. You have a life worth loving. And the more that you choose to actively appreciate all there is to love about your life, the more momentum you create for more good things to come to you. This practice, like actively practicing loving your life more, is going to make you feel more energized, more inspired, more open to possibilities. And that's when new opportunities start to flow in. If you don't already, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. We post Monday through Friday. So I'll be back again tomorrow. And until then, I'm Rachel Hollis. I'm glad you're here. I love you, and I'm rooting for you. The Rachel Hollis Podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble. The New Balance 1080 is the ultimate daily trainer, combining reliable comfort and top-tier performance. I live in my sneakers. I use them to walk around the block, to run around my neighborhood, and to get all the chores done in a day that I need to as a working mom. So whether you're logging miles or running errands, the 1080 seamlessly transitions from the coffee shop to the grocery store, to the podcast studio, or wherever else you've got to get things done. The New Balance 1080 features a cushioned midsole for secure support and comfort, while the totally lightweight, breathable mesh upper keeps your feet cool and fresh on every run. Shop the 1080 at newbalance.com.
Spread the love for Black founded brands, yeah. Found here at Walmart, straight into our hands.
The dew for curls, keeping up their shine.
Share the love, yeah, share the love.
Bold and got my skin glowing so fine.
Black founded brands, I'm feeling the vibe.
A dozen cousins, flavor, can't wait to dine.
Shop now, show your love.
Discover all our Black founded brands at walmart.com/black and unlimited.